What's going on? This is Sunshine Collision Podcast. My name is Coop. I'm your host, and we are pushing past the pain in dope fashion. So today, I'm so excited. One of my, I'm gonna say friend now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm gonna say friend now. That I met last year at a conference. I'm not gonna say, but I'm gonna let her introduce herself because here on Sunshine Collision Podcast, I like for my guests to introduce themselves because a lot of times in life, people like to put labels on us. People try to tell us who we are. So I'm gonna pass the mic to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Coop. Yeah, my name is Breonna Moore, other known as Bree. And Coop and I met at, like you said, a conference, a networking event. I've been very intentional about networking. And I am on this journey of just going with wherever the divineness takes me.
Come on.
So when I meet people, I already know that this person was placed into my life for a reason. And we'll kind of reveal what other things we have in the works
The goodies.
a little later.
It's gonna sprinkle a little sunshine on y'all.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is I truly understand what it means by your net worth equals your network. And our, friendship and I guess collaboration that we have is a testament to that. But
Amen.
my name is Breonna Moore. I am former registered nurse, not former, but like I say former because the people who know, I would really like to not have to go back to the nursing field. And I think that God makes you really uncomfortable when it's time for you to move. So it's not that I'm not a great nurse because I am. It's just that I worked in some very extreme conditions at a young age. I started as a nurse at 24 years old in the intensive care unit. And I wasn't expecting to have to carry that much amount of hurt and things like that. I was a baby, barely knew how to take care of myself. Now I'm taking care of other people. So I had come to a conclusion where I was like, I don't necessarily want to go back to school. And I don't want to work at this job that has afforded me this beautiful lifestyle. Like, look, I got me a good apartment. I got me a 2004 Honda Accord. Okay, 200,000 miles.
Okay.
I paid off. I'm living the dream, right? So I'm like, I'll go to Ross when I want to, take a little vacation when I want to. So I'm like, how do I keep up this lifestyle, not knowing it was something so much better for me? Started reading a lot of books about slavery. And this was during COVID, so 2020. So I was reading, this was when George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery,
this is
Breonna
around the time
Taylor,
where everybody getting woke.
Exactly. And I was learning so much from like YouTube and Instagram. And I'm like, dang, I never learned any of this in school. So I'm reading these books and I'm learning about the struggles that we went through. And I'm like, why are we still going through these things in 2020? It didn't make sense to me. And I started really diving deep into African culture. And I learned that one of the tribes called the Dahomey tribe was basically going to different, I don't want to know, huts or different places in Africa, stealing Africans and selling them for like money, power, respect, gold, silver. So that sparked something in me. And I was like, maybe I need to change the way I'm reading because I'm getting really upset and irritated at our oppression, but not necessarily why we're oppressed. Let me switch to reading books about money.
Yeah.
Because that's why we were being sold off and things like that. And I switched my mindset, started reading a book called The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach, which basically tells you to contribute more to your 401k. And another book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
I heard that. Actually, I started reading it a little bit.
Good. Any entrepreneur that you meet, I'm sure it's because they're an entrepreneur because they read that book. Like it's
my sister put me on. She was like, "Yeah, this is the book."
So I literally that year, and I was listening to another podcast called Earn Your Leisure, and so I'm learning how entrepreneurs were making money with just their skills. And one tidbit that I learned from a real estate agent, actually in Metro Atlanta, Kiana Watson, was she said, like, y'all want to invest and y'all want to make all of this money, but y'all not making no money. So I'm like, how am I supposed to make more money? I'm already working 60 hours a week.
Hello.
You're like,
hello.
But you got to think smarter. Like your mindset is the first thing that you have to change when you really want to make a change. And like, especially for somebody like me who wanted to make more money, but didn't necessarily have a family member who made money or knew how to invest or knew about financial literacy. I had to figure it out on my own. So what I did was 3 simple things. increase my income, decrease my expenses, and invest the rest. So the way to do that was I became a travel nurse. I made a good amount of money that year, invested that money into 3 different rental properties. I'm sorry, 2 rental properties and then my own primary residence. And then I was just buying stocks every month. And so now, from the time I made that decision in 2020 to now, 6 years, because investors think in years, 5 years, 10 years. It's not a quick flip. I knew that if I started then, in 5 years, I would potentially be financially independent. And so 6 years later, I am financially independent.
Come on.
Yes. So in the time that I was trying to figure out what to do, I was able to ask myself, what would I have to do? What would I do if I didn't have to worry about money? Right. And that's not a question that a lot of people can ask themselves. And I started, I bought a business too. The business needed marketing. So I was like, how about I start a podcast?
Nice.
So we ain't got to pay for marketing. Yeah. Not knowing, Coop, that you got to have an audience. You got to have a presence. You need, I'm just jumping into this pool with no audience, no, real pool in the community. Nobody knows me because I've been at work all my life. Yep. So I didn't know that it was going to be an upward hill battle to actually have, put our ads in a podcast that nobody was listening to at the time. But I really enjoyed telling people stories. So 2 years later, now has branched off into a media company. And we've also branched off into financial literacy activation classes. And I'm asking God too, what's the purpose of my platform? What is the purpose of what I'm doing? Come on. And he told me clear as day, purpose of your platform is to turn purpose into power, power into profit, profit into placement, so that we never have to ask for a seat at the table. Because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. What? God told this to me so clear. And I was like, okay. So now I'm just working, trying to figure out how to get my people financially literate so that we don't have to depend on anybody but ourselves.
I know that's right.
That's it.
Depend on the black dollar.
Whew.
Depend on the black dollar.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so excited because I know no one really taught me about financial literacy or what our black money can do. You know what I'm saying? And how we can invest in ourselves and invest in things that will make us financially stable.
Yeah. And you're not the only one. It's by design, systematic. So don't think it's your fault. The world has worked overtime to separate us from our money.
Absolutely.
So if you go on a highway right now, you go see 10 different billboards. It's 10 different commercials selling you things. The national debt is over $38 trillion because you have people in office who are not financially literate. So I don't know how much debt you have, but I'm sure it's not as much. That's what I'm saying. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you brought that up because you have a book, Investing While Black, and you have touched on a lot of the beginning of the book that I had enjoyed. And I enjoyed your story as far as humble beginnings of starting off as a nurse and working in the ICU.
Oh, you read the book, Cool?
Yeah,
you read the book. Okay.
Working with individuals and patients that and I only bring this up because my aunt was on dialysis. So I know you've seen a lot of
I was a dialysis nurse for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the stories, not your story, but your interaction and your experience working in that type of field, seeing death, seeing the weight being on you while you're in there and watching all these things and trying to control what you can control.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that affect your mental health?
Ooh, okay. All right. Second date question. All right, let's go. So I'll start back in nursing school. I was in nursing school with our white counterparts, which, we had a good relationship. I had a really good relationship with them, but they kept on talking about this thing called Adderall and these antidepressants. And I'm just dealing with it because nobody in my family knew about mental health. They didn't talk to, if you talked about going to therapy, that meant you were crazy. Something was actively wrong with you. If you are depressed, you need to depress these dishes. Okay. That's how I grew up. So they were Breonna, you seem really stressed. You're crying. You're not in a good space. So I actually went to my physician and asked for some medication to calm me down. So I think that was Lexapro or something, which is that serotonin, the SSRI. And so it started before nursing school, because nursing school is extremely vigorous. A lot of people don't know that, like, nursing school, you have to get an 80% to pass. Not a 79.9, an 80%. Med school, you can pass with a D. Like, you, so it's tough. It's hard. Out of 100% of the people that started with me, only 30% finished with me. So it started there, which when I started working as a nurse, I understood why the curriculum was so rigorous.
Yeah.
Because then we get into the mental health issues that happen when you're dealing with the things that they don't teach you in school. So as far as mental health, when I was in the ICU, it is so deep, even down to how I introduce myself as Breonna Moore, but my friends call me Bree. When I was at work, I was Breonna. Like, you know, like, this is my work name. This is my show name. Like, this is who I am when I'm code switching. Like, this is who I am when I'm taking care of people. This is me. Yeah. And I didn't really know how to take that off. So I would take a lot of my work problems home with me. And I ended up increasing my dose of the medication that my physician gave me. So it really did, I would say, affect your mental health. If nursing is not like it used to be. Like, it used to be chill, it used to be calm. It wasn't as many policies. It was more patient-centered. So, like, you would see a nurse painting people's nails back in the day, like doing their hair, like giving them full-body baths with, like, soap and water. Now it's all about policy. Did you chart on time? Did you do meds on time? So now, more constraints. So I just felt like a lot of the things that happened, I just came into a time where there was a big transition. So most of the nurses who had been there were leaving to do more professional, but like professor roles or like education roles. So the experience was leaving. And you're filtering all of these student nurses who just finished class or college. And there was a bit of a gap there. And so at the hospital that I was at, it was very nurse positive. Okay, good. Which is good. Yeah. But it's like, it also is a lot of pressure to know certain things. But so I would say it affected my mental health as far as, like, I was just under pressure all of the time. And I needed something to relieve that pressure, which was that SSRI. And yeah, that's
so
how
that was your coping skill.
Pretty much, me and everybody else. Shout out to y'all. If you can be a nurse without an antidepressant right now, I'm like, more power to you, cold-blooded.
Yeah. Like, and I believe you only because I used to be a sitter. So I used to sit with those patients that were acting like up, alcohol withdrawal, schizophrenia, coming from off of anesthesia, pulling on their wires and cords, their trachs, all that. I used to be washing people up as if I was what they call it, PCTs. Yeah, I used to.
Patient care technician. Listen. Well, on behalf of me and all of the physicians and all of the other nurses and CNAs and LPNs, thank you. We absolutely appreciate that. Yes.
Because I know that we kept the patients, try to keep the patients calm, cool, collective while you service other people, you know.
Very important.
When did you realize how important financial literacy was in investing while being Black?
I would say I recognized it in 2020, like right when, so 2019, I had the opportunity to leave nursing. Well, to leave the ICU and go to dialysis. Okay. So somebody literally pulled me to the side and they were like, you look miserable here. Like, I have a boss over here in dialysis, and I think that, like, if I was to give her your name, like, you would be a shoo-in for the job. Okay. And I'm like, you know, I'm still Breonna at this point. So I'm like, what do you mean I look, you know, like, what do you can tell that I'm not having a good time right now? Like, because that was my cover. Like, my cover is I am cool, calm, and collect. Yep. But people were starting to see past that.
You was masking.
I was masking, but the mask was coming off. Yeah. Like, I mean, it was coming off like a bad batch of makeup. So I ended up taking that opportunity. I went to see the manager, and of course it was super serendipitous. And I'm talking to the manager, and she's like, oh my gosh, like 2 other people have recommended you to me. I don't know who these other 2 people were.
God sent them.
God sent them. So I'm like, so she was like, I mean, girl, listen, how much you want? Like, we got you. I ended up getting like $1 raise or something like that. Okay. And like, I started. 2 months later, there was this announcement. Well, okay, hold on. 2 months before that, we kept having patients come into the ICU with flu-like symptoms, but testing negative for the flu. And we didn't, it was like the whole unit was sick. Nurses started to get sick. Doctors started to get sick. We didn't know what it was. We had no idea. We didn't know. It was crazy. So like, I ended up leaving the ICU in December, and in March, Trump announced COVID, which is significant because when COVID was announced, all transfers out of the ICU were paused.
I believe it.
So if you were a nurse trying to go to a different unit, you couldn't go. We needed you. And I worked in a respiratory ICU.
Ooh.
So that's where all of the COVID patients went.
Mhm.
And our sister unit just so happened to be the Ebola unit. So when that Ebola patient came to Richmond that one time, they ended up not having Ebola. But, you know, that was where they went.
Mhm.
So it was like a high-risk type of unit. Any person they didn't know where to put, if they didn't fit into the world of cardiac or neuro or burn or NICU or, you know, kids, they would come to us. So I just so happened to get out right on time. And during that time, it was a lot of pressure left off of me. Like, I just felt like, you know how like a balloon gets deflated?
Yep.
That's kind of how I felt when I moved from ICU to dialysis. Because I had a really high skill set because I was a dialysis nurse. I'm sorry, an ICU nurse. But I was always thinking about everything that could possibly go wrong. Because in ICU, you have multi-organ failure.
And it's like that.
It's like you come in with a liver issue, then it's your heart, now it's your brain, now it's your kidneys. Like it was a lot. But with the dialysis, it anchored me because I'm like, okay, cool. I just got to worry about the kidney. Everything goes back to the kidney. It's like, all right, cool. You got diabetes. It's probably because the kidney, like your sugar was attacking your kidneys. Now you're on dialysis. It was easy for me to like track back diagnoses to symptoms. Therefore, I was able to like understand. I was able to understand how to treat things better when they happen. So a lot of pressure off of me. Started listening to podcasts, Earn Your Leisure, Rants and Gems, all of them. And I just started to implement those things. And it was just like, start saving your money, buy a business. They went through all of these different like tax strategies. And at that time, I think I had like maybe 400 hours of PTO that I hadn't used.
What?
I know.
And people talk about my little 200.
That's probably why I was on them antidepressants. I wasn't taking no vacations. But during COVID, like the dialysis unit was kind of light. So I would be able to go home early a lot of times. So I would just devour books. I would read. I would, mainly just read and write and think of and like try to like get my goals together. And I was one of those people that didn't read. So like, I'm reading a paperback book and I'm having to stop every 5 minutes to look up a word on the dictionary. Yeah.
That's exactly where I'm at right now.
Yeah. So I'm like, if people tell me all the time, well, I don't like reading, or like they'll tell me, talking about money or talking about budgeting is boring. And to my response, I'm just like, well, waiting a year for $1 raise is boring too.
Hello.
Pick your boring.
Please.
Which like, one is going to change your life and one is going to keep you exactly where you at.
Yeah.
So I think just that mindset and understanding how people that look like me, because representation is important, because that podcast, Earn Your Leisure, those guys are Black. And I'm seeing Black dudes talk about hip hop and LeBron and the NBA and old school hip hop rap battles.
Let's talk about something real.
Yeah. Talking about investing, I felt like a fly on the wall to a conversation I wasn't supposed to be listening to. Because you know they say, oh, this information was kept away from us.
Yep.
The library is free.
That's what they said. Hide the information in the book if you
want to hide it from a Black person.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we not reading the information. So I would say it started there in 2020 during COVID when we didn't have nothing else to do but pay attention to the world around us. And I had to hate my job. Like because a lot of people could say that and see that as something bad that happened to them. No, it's like something that happened for me. I wouldn't be here talking to you if it was for that.
At all.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. And some people, they get upset when God just shifts them real quick. But sometimes he shifts you right into that alignment of where he needs you to be at. Give me top 3, right? Not top 3, but give me 3 steps that people should take first when it comes to improving anything that has to do with financial. What is the 3 most important things that somebody should be doing?
Okay. Well, a lot of times, the first thing you need to do is change your mindset. And I say that because all of us know how to lose weight. We all know that we need to go to the gym and eat a better diet. How many of us actually do that?
Right.
So a lot of people say, well, knowledge is power, but it's not power. It's not power. Applied knowledge is power. So if you change your mindset to understand like that you need to do better or you want a better life for yourself, that you have to start taking the steps to do that. And I think that also a lot of people out here who are making six figures, a quarter of those people who are making over $200,000 per year are living paycheck to paycheck. Because it's not about how much you make. It's about what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a job, let's just say you were to get a raise. A lot of people get a raise and they increase their expenses. Oh, we need to get a better car. Oh, we need to get a better house. Da-da-da-da. You're trying to keep up with the Jacksons.
Yeah.
The Jacksons trying to keep up with the Johnsons.
Mm-hmm.
The Johnsons' house ready to be foreclosed on. We don't see that. So I would say the first step is definitely taking action. The second step is execution. So in mindset changing, I think that you actually have to like, once you change your mindset, you have to start educating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So read these books. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a really good read. It's interesting. If you don't want to read it, listen to the audiobook. Audible is free for 30 days.
Let me tell you.
And it's on YouTube.
That's what's on my audiobook.
It's like, it's a self-help book, kind of like in disguise as a finance book. Mm-hmm. But it really will put you on an upward trajectory to seeing like exactly how money works. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, so educate yourself. 2, execute. And then once you really start to put your money into something, a lot of times we want a quick flip. But it's like, I think that if you get to a place where you understand that this is not going to get you a return until 5 or 10 years from now, mm-hmm. it's a hard pill to swallow. Because we got these thumbs and we scroll. Like we used to that dopamine hit. Yep. But investing is long term. Okay. But also Black people, I don't think we were able to be bankable until the 1800s. Okay. And women couldn't get a bank account without a man until the 60s. So I'm not like, I really want this to be, like I heard somebody say something about the conference that they're having. They were like, we want this to be a family meeting. Like, absolutely, this is a family meeting right now. I'm not trying to push anything on you, but I'm just saying, like, it's up to us. We can't help that we're given these cards, but we got to play them. Yeah. And then the third step is to, let me think. Okay, we said educate, execute. Evolve. Evolve into who you want to be. And the thing is, like, you have to say these things out loud. Affirm it. I am rich. Money comes to me. Money loves me. I used to affirm all of these things at work when I had no money. And to the point where people would find the pieces of paper and start giving, Breonna, you dropped this. They would know it was mine. They would be like, I am rich. I am a billionaire. So, I mean, like, intangible items, I do my activation classes now, and I teach, like, the ABCs of investing. So, like, if you want something tangible, we can talk about, automate. Automate your money into a high-yield savings account. I don't care if it's $5, $10 a month. Those small those small little steps matter. Increase your 401k. That's one of the first things that I did when I started to build wealth. And what was the last thing? B, budget. So budget and build. A budget go tell your money where to go. Credit and debt is telling you what to do with your money. You got to take control of that.
I love that.
Yeah, take control of it and actually create a budget to tell you where to go. Every dollar needs a job. I like my money barefoot and pregnant. Oh. Okay. I like my money to be well taken care of. That's why money loves me and knows it's going to get taken care of. It knows it's going to be very fertile. But also have set things in place for that to happen. And then C, cash flow, which is the ultimate goal, which I haven't even gotten to cash flow yet. My investments are steamrolling my lifestyle. Okay. But I don't yet have a business that's creating cash flow. I have a business that creates revenue, but inflow is meaning outflow right now. So investment and business, 2 different things. So right. I'm learning now how to do business, which I think is really important for us as African Americans to know how to do it. But yeah, cash flow, 7 streams of income. If you have something that you enjoy doing, knitting is a very expensive hobby. So see if you want to sell something on Etsy. It was one time I was sitting on this plane in first class. Okay. So honestly, they ran out of seats in the back and they had to put me up there. Okay, but I was sitting next to this young lady. She was like Asian or Korean or something, but I was asking like, what are you doing? And they give you free drinks in first class. I was having a ball. I'm talking to this lady. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you about to do? Because she wasn't nothing but 26, 25 years old. She was like, oh, I sell candles on Etsy. And I was like, oh, she was like, yeah, I just started putting them on there one day and they started to sell out. And I didn't really have to like do my job anymore. I think she was like an esthetician or something.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, yeah, I didn't have to do my job anymore. So me and my friend, I was sitting like right in the middle of them. She was like, so me and my friend, her friend was a model about to do a shoot in LA. So she's like, when my friend has a shoot, I just go with her and like my money just flows to me. And I was like, oh, okay.
I know that's right.
So I think everybody at least once should sit in first class. I believe Steve Harvey said that one time too, because you make the best connections there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I just cash flow, 7 streams of income, Uber, Lyft, whatever you got to do. When I started to really create my wealth or start my wealth building journey, I was working like 60, 70.
Like a dog.
Like a dog. And to the point where, but I was like, I'm working really hard right now.
Mm-hmm.
It was another way for me to make more money. I started travel nursing. So instead of me working 60, 70 hours to make this amount of money, I could work for 36 hours and make the same amount.
Right.
If not double that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I just started at a really good time. And that's the thing too, be decisive.
Come on.
You got to make the decision.
You gotta make the
It's not going to happen if you sitting there waiting.
I'm learning all this right now.
Yeah, I mean.
In this season.
Truly, like, if I was to wait 3 more months to buy my house, I would have had to pay an extra $60,000 for it.
Sheesh.
Because I just got in at the right time. Make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
And believe in God, too. Like, trust your source.
God is leading this conversation
yes,
right
he
now.
Is, because I don't know where this coming from. But
listen, we anointed in here.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because my next question to you was, how important is putting God in the center of your business and everything that you do?
Let me take a sip.
Because people be, hold on. Let me cheers you on that one, because God is the greatest. Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't know what God can do until God blows your mind.
Yes, I agree. I will say it didn't start out like that for me. Okay. I had to grow into my faith. Me and God had to have a real tough conversation. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm cussing. I'm doubting. God, where you at? You say you're supposed to be doing this. You say you're supposed to be here. You didn't take my grandma away from me. You didn't put me in this job that I hate. Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't put me around all of this turmoil and distress. Where you at? I never heard your voice. Do you not like black people? Like, me and God we going head to head. Like, and in that moment, he said, give all your problems to me.
Come on, cast your cares on them.
Give all your problems to me. And after that conversation, and in that moment too, I was in the middle of my entrepreneurship journey. So I made enough money to take off for a year, mm-hmm. but I ran out of money. Mm-hmm. And I think that was actually the time that God was wanting me to lean on him and be like, I got you. You keep worried about the money. If it's my will, it's my bill. Yeah. That's what God is telling me. Like, I got you. And I'm just not trusting, because I'm like, but God, I got this bill coming up. I went back to work. I prayed. I was like, Lord, please, like, give me an opportunity to go back to work. This is after I hate the ICU. I don't want to go back to work. But God was like, okay, you want to go back to work? I got a call for a job the next day. Mm. After he said, give me all your problems. Got a call for a job. Went back to work for 3 months. Mm. Went back to work. And while I was there, 800 miles away from Richmond, where I have my podcast, mm-hmm. I got nominated for 3 different awards. So I was like, did I just stifle my growth by coming out here? Like, I feel like he was really about to catch me in that moment. Mm-hmm. But I had to go back to work, and I had to kind of be disobedient in order to grow closer to God. But in that, I was able to grow closer.
Now, is that around the time that I met you?
Yes.
Because I remember you saying that.
Yes.
And you were pouring into me, and you were telling me your testimony.
Yes.
And you were like, just start the podcast, just start whatever you do, just start it. I remember you saying that you didn't want to go back to work. Mm-hmm. I remember you saying
literally, yeah. So that's so crazy.
And shout out to David Shan, because he did a wonderful, wonderful conference. It was called Podcast Summit. He's actually he's touring now.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
That's where we met at his podcast summit.
Yep.
Yeah, no, shout out to him. He's a friend of On Your Leisure as well. So I'm a fan of him because I met him through them.
He be wearing his hats on his podcast.
He do. He wore your hat on stage.
Yeah.
He wore your hat. It was such a good hat too. It matched the outfit perfectly.
Yeah.
And I love. Anyways, I love the hat. Which was it? Like, it was that one, right? The one with
the one by your the black one. Yep.
Yeah, mm-hmm. He loved that hat. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, that was somebody invited me to that because I was supposed to go to Missouri, which is like on the way from Atlanta, kind of. It's like a detour. So it made sense for me to stop in Atlanta before I went to Missouri. But I didn't know about that conference. That girl hit me up like a night before and was like, hey, I got an extra ticket to this. You want to come? And I'm like, well, I got to go to work on Monday, but maybe I can slide by on Saturday. So even that was serendipitous. But yes, that was the beginning of something I did not want to do. And that is exactly where I met you.
That's so crazy.
That is interesting.
And the crazy part about it is I truly, truly believe in divine connection.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe in the alignment that God has and an assignment that he has on actually both of our lives right now.
Yeah.
And by me saying that, I'm excited about the collaboration that we about to be dropping soon.
Well, okay, so I don't know if you want to keep this in or not, but when we first met, I snuck to the front of the row of the conference. I was sitting in the front row. You need a whole other tier to pay a whole other extra amount of money to be in front. I was in the front, and nobody up there. I said, "Let me go ahead."
You sure enough was. Anytime somebody left, I seen you up there.
Hey, you got to take these opportunities. I'm from Richmond. What did Denzel Washington say? I'm from around the way.
Yeah.
What he said? I'm leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with something. So you came up to the front during like a break or something. You were like, yo, like, I want to give you one of my hats. I seen the hat. I said, I'm not taking this hat from you. I'm going to pay for this hat. Because the hat was so nice. Like, I was like, this looks like it should be in lids. Like, this is a really nice hat.
Appreciate that.
And yeah, so I bought that one from you, and then you gave me the orange one, which I have. It's on my bed board that I have. And I was like, dang, I really want to stay connected with you. I didn't know if you believed in God or not. Sometimes you just don't know. But I started talking about God, and you was receiving it, and I was like, oh, she my people. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can rap about this. And we ended up going from there. So now my podcast is I would love to branch into merchandise.
Come on.
So the first person who I wanted to collaborate with was you, because I knew that your work was quality.
Quality over quantity, I'm telling you.
I wear your hat. I think I'm wearing your hat in my profile picture on Instagram.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
That's how much I love it.
And every time I see it, I'll be like, keep showing me, God. You know what I'm saying? Show me how good it's about to get.
Yeah. It's so good because I like a nice A-frame hat, but your hat is like more like a Cali vibe.
Yeah.
With the one that we have, I like the shorter brim.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the one that we created. Like the one that we have, the one that I have on in my profile picture. The hat is perfect. And I can't ever really find anything that matches like my face shape.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Sunshine Collision times More Than Money podcast have a collaboration coming out on the hat. Hopefully we can have more.
Now, hopefully
merch.
We will have more.
Okay, beautiful.
We speaking this into existence right now.
Well, why'd you want to work with me? Who made you say yes?
To be honest, I don't say a lot of yeses.
I know. I could tell.
And I go off of discernment. I go off of energy. I go off of if I'm feeling the vibe, if I'm led to. So even still with me coming up front and telling you, hey, I want to give you a hat, I already seen you in my peripheral sitting back over here talking to this man. Because I think I gave you did I give you my business card?
Yes, I got your business card.
I think I gave you my business card. And then I see you up front and something in my spirit, and I'm just going to say it was the Holy Spirit that was just like, give her a hat.
Yeah.
I don't know what that made it have done, because at the end of the day, I felt like everything was divine that day, those 2 days of the podcast conference, that everything was aligning. Because even far as the guy that was sitting up front with you, he was in my apostles conference selling his beaded bracelets.
Okay.
And he kept saying to me for 2 years in a row, because I went to both of his conferences, and he worked at both of his conferences. And 2 years in a row, that man said, you sound like you should be like a podcast host.
Wow.
Let me know. And I was like, yeah, no, I've just got my hoodies. The hoodie that I was wearing earlier. I was wearing that hoodie and I was selling it as well. And he was just like, he kept mentioning it. And when I seen him, I was like, all right, God, this is funny. Because now I run into this man up front. And then just the connections around us. But even still, it was just like your vibe. I was just like, it was something about you that it was just like, yeah, I need to keep in touch. I struggle with confidence. I struggle with carrying myself. This is why I made that brand. So, matter of fact, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Listen, I ain't no hater. I
Thank
don't be
you.
around, you know what I'm saying? Beautiful spirits. Beautiful spirits only.
Beautiful spirits. Man, I'm just so excited for this collaboration. I
Yeah.
really feel like it's going to be a hit.
Yeah.
I'm excited for next week when I come and see you, and I'm going to be on your
Yes.
podcast.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm already booked and busy.
Right.
I'm decreeing, declaring that over my life. I'm already
Yeah.
booked and busy. And I just want to say thank you, because at the end of the day, I didn't expect my brain to expand the way that it has expand from the Zoom call that we had. And I thank you for pouring into me. I thank you for just being your authentic self.
You pour into me too. Yeah, when we prayed together after that call,
Amen.
you was a prayer. When you said Preston shaking down and running together, I said, "Oh, she a prayer."
Because I'm learning that we have to speak these things over our lives.
Yeah.
You know, we really do. And I do believe that this connection is going to be longevity, as well as I think it's just gonna be a great connection. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what RVA is hitting for.
Yeah.
I know that you spoke about a lot of things that's happening there, and I want to make sure that I stretch myself while God is pressing me.
Yeah.
So that I can get my brand out there and let people know what it is, what it stands for, because it's not just hats and hoodies and things like that. It's the culture. It's about mental health. It's about trauma. It's about having faith. It's about transformation. It's about financial literacy now. It's about all these things that we take for granted, and we're struggling as a people as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think just for me to just point out is that God at the center of everything, that I'm learning to submit, I'm learning to be obedient, I'm learning all these things. And just off of the strength of having that conversation with you, when I can't remember, I wrote it down in my notebook when you spoke about letting God be the center of everything. And I was just like, yeah, because can't nothing go through anything without him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, that is what has gotten me to where I am today. Unknowingly, he's everywhere. In this space, in this carpet, in the floor. You never even know. Like, I think I was thinking about, I have a bit of an interest in mind. Anyways,
I see.
I even down to me thinking about, I was like, dang, I really want to get like a wax or something like that. This is not that type of show, but I said I want to get a wax. I go to the daggone coffee shop. I was supposed to be there now because me and two of my good friends are having an event, and I went there to help them. Help is a strong word. I went there to be the creative mind behind the hook that we were going to use for this reel that we were creating. So after I created the hook, I went home and I drove up here. Anyways, literally asked God about, just said in my head, I need a wax. The girl gave me a card for a waxing place.
Oh, that's
that
dope.
She had just got a wax from. Like, she was like, I'm just coming from this place or whatever up the street. I'm gonna give you their card. I was like, what's the card for? She was like, oh, it's a wax. I was like, it's in the littlest things. It's like, even in things you don't know.
Yeah.
It may be somebody at that wax place that may need financial literacy or something like that. It may not necessarily be for just my leisure, but it's like, okay, two birds with one stone.
Connection.
So, yeah, let them. I mean, like, I think giving everything to God has been one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life, because now I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. If one door closes, that's fine. It wasn't meant to be open.
Yeah.
If a door opens, okay, let me walk on through. If I need to push through it or whatever, because I was talking to one of my friends about that too. He's very much so like go with the flow, and that works for him.
Yep.
And I'm not like I'm gonna push and things like that. But he's like, well, if you think that, or if you know that God has you in all of these moments, then why do you feel like you need to push? You know, and that caused a bit of a juxtaposition in my mind too, because I'm like, I think I just like to, if I see an opportunity, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
So I think people just move in different ways, but we both keep God at the center. So I don't think the way that I'm doing it is wrong, and I don't think the way that you're doing it is wrong. We both listen. We all have a promise.
Mm-hmm.
We always get to that promise. I already know I'm gonna be the next Oprah. God told me
Come
the
on.
Oprah is already taken. I'm gonna be the next Breonna, and I received that. But hey, listen, you gotta little,
Amen.
and I think the small steps that you take every day are gonna get you there. And I'm not rushing. I mean, like even we were talking about like followers and subscribers.
Yeah.
The score is gonna handle itself.
Yeah.
As long as you put in the work,
Mm-hmm.
the output is gonna match it.
I received that.
Yeah,
I received that.
yeah. Don't even stress about it. It's coming.
Man, I
Yeah.
receive all that. But thank you again for coming on Sunshine Collision
Yes. Thanks for having
Podcast, where
me.
we are pushing past the pain adult fashion. Love the fit, by the way.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
I can't wait for you guys to see what's in store. We got great things coming together, and that's not just hats. You
Mhm.
know, stay tuned, Brianna or Bree.
Mhm.
Which one? Because you said you got all these alter egos that you trying to figure out
So
which
many.
face.
My friends call me Bree.
Bree. So we're gonna say Bree.
We're friends now.
we're
We're
friends now.
you and I and all of your supporters.
Well, thank you, Bree, for coming on to Sunshine Collision Podcast. Hallelujah.
Peace.